I, 34F, have been married to Tom, 36M, for 8 years. We met in college during our final year. I was studying marketing, and he was in engineering. We hit it off at a mutual friend's party and started dating soon after. After graduation, we both landed jobs in the same city and moved in together. 2 years later, Tom proposed during a weekend getaway to the mountains. It was romantic and perfect. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony with close friends and family. We have 2 children together, a 6-year-old son, Charlie, and a 4-year-old daughter, Lily. Charlie is energetic and loves sports, while Lily is more artistic and enjoys drawing. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but I thought we were happy. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but we always managed to work through our issues. Or so I thought. That was until I discovered Tom had been cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend, Lisa, 33F, for the past year. Lisa was Tom's high school sweetheart. They dated for 3 years before breaking up when they went to different colleges. I knew about her, of course. Tom had mentioned her a few times over the years, but I never thought much of it. She was just a part of his past, or so I believed. I found out about the affair 3 months ago when I borrowed Tom's laptop to check my email. My phone was dead, and I needed to send an important work document. Tom was in the shower, so I quickly logged into my email account. As I was attaching the file, I noticed several unread messages in Tom's email inbox. One subject line caught my eye: "Missing you already." The sender was Lisa. I know I shouldn't have, but I clicked on the email. What I read made my blood run cold. It was full of intimate details and plans for their next meetup. I scrolled through the email thread, my hands shaking. There were dozens of messages going back months. At first, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I felt like the ground had disappeared from under my feet. When Tom came out of the shower, I confronted him with the emails. He looked shocked at first, then his face crumpled. He didn't even try to deny it. He confessed that he and Lisa had reconnected at their high school reunion last year, and things had escalated from there. He claimed he was confused about his feelings and didn't know how to end things with either of us. I was devastated. The trust I had in Tom was completely shattered. We had built a life together, created a family, and he threw it all away for an affair with his ex. I asked him to leave our house that night. He tried to argue, to explain, but I couldn't bear to hear any more. He finally agreed to go and stay with his brother, Mark, 38M, who lives nearby. Telling the kids that their daddy had to go away was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I told them that daddy had to go away for work for a while. I couldn't bear to tell them the truth just yet. Charlie asked a lot of questions, but Lily just looked confused and sad. The next few weeks were a blur of tears, anger, and sleepless nights. I couldn't eat, I couldn't focus at work, and I felt like I was barely holding it together for our children. My sister, Rachel, 31F, came to stay with us for a while to help out with the kids and provide emotional support. She was furious with Tom and wanted me to kick him to the curb permanently, but I wasn't ready to make any big decisions yet. Tom tried to contact me multiple times during this period, but I ignored his calls and messages. I needed time to process everything and figure out what I wanted to do. Part of me wanted to forgive him and try to work things out for the sake of our family. We had built a life together, and I didn't want to throw that away. But another part of me couldn't imagine ever trusting him again. How could I be sure he wouldn't do this again? About a month after Tom left, I finally agreed to meet him to discuss our situation. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop near our house. Tom looked terrible. He had lost weight and had dark circles under his eyes. He begged for forgiveness and swore he had ended things with Lisa for good. He said he realized what a huge mistake he had made and that he wanted to come back home and work on our marriage. As I listened to him, memories of our life together flashed through my mind. Our first date, when he spilled coffee all over himself and turned bright red. The day we moved into our first apartment together, surrounded by boxes and takeout pizza. The moment he proposed, down on one knee in front of a breathtaking mountain vista. The birth of our children, his face full of wonder and love as he held them for the first time. But then I remembered the emails I had read, the secret meetings, the lies. How could I ever trust him again? How could I be sure he wouldn't do this again the next time an ex came back into his life or he felt confused about his feelings? I listened to everything he had to say, but I couldn't give him an answer right then. I told him I needed more time to think about it. The truth was, I was torn. On one hand, I still loved Tom and wanted our family to be whole again. On the other hand, the thought of him touching me after he had been with Lisa made me feel physically ill. After our meeting, I decided to take some time for myself. I sent the kids to stay with my parents for a week and took a solo trip to a nearby beach town. I needed space to clear my head and figure out what I really wanted. My parents were supportive, although I could tell they were worried about me. They didn't know the full story yet, just that Tom and I were having problems. During my time away, I did a lot of thinking and soul-searching. I walked on the beach, read books, and journaled my thoughts. I realized that while I still cared for Tom, I couldn't imagine ever fully trusting him again. The thought of constantly wondering where he was and who he was with was not something I wanted to live with for the rest of my life. I also thought about our children. What kind of example would I be setting for them if I stayed with someone who had betrayed me so deeply? I wanted them to grow up understanding the importance of trust and respect in relationships. When I returned home, I called Tom and told him my decision. I wanted a divorce. He was devastated and tried to change my mind, but I stood firm. I explained that while I appreciated his remorse, the damage was done, and I couldn't see a way forward for us as a couple. Now, I'm in the process of filing for divorce. We're trying to keep things amicable for the sake of our children, but it's not easy. Tom has moved out permanently and is staying with his brother until he finds his own place. We've told the kids that Mommy and Daddy won't be living together anymore, but that we both still love them very much. Charlie had a lot of questions, and Lily cried, but we're doing our best to reassure them and maintain their routines as much as possible. I'm scared about the future, being a single mom, dating again someday, and how this will affect our children. But I also feel a sense of relief. I know I've made the right decision for myself, even if it's the hardest one I've ever had to make. I guess I'm writing this post because I need some support and maybe some advice from people who have been through similar situations. How do I move forward from here? How do I help my children through this transition? And how do I start rebuilding my life as a single woman after being married for so long? Update 1, it's been about 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. Your support has meant more to me than you can imagine. The divorce proceedings are underway, and Tom and I are trying to keep things as civil as possible for the sake of our kids. We've agreed on shared custody, with the children staying with me during the week and spending weekends with Tom. It's been an adjustment for all of us, but we're managing. Charlie has been having a hard time with the changes. He's been acting out at school, and his teacher called me in for a meeting last week. We're looking into getting him some counseling to help him process his emotions. Lily, on the other hand, has become very clingy. She cries every time Tom comes to pick them up for the weekend. It breaks my heart to see them struggling, but I'm trying to stay strong for them. Tom and I have been communicating mainly through texts and emails, trying to keep things focused on the kids and the divorce proceedings. It's been difficult, especially when we have to see each other during kid drop-offs and pickups. There's still so much hurt and anger between us. However, things took an unexpected turn last week. I received a call from Lisa, Tom's ex-girlfriend and the woman he cheated on me with. At first, I didn't recognize the number, and when she introduced herself, I almost hung up. But something in her voice made me pause. She asked if we could meet in person to talk. At first, I was hesitant, but curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed. We met at a local park, the same one where Tom and I used to take the kids on weekends. It felt strange to be there without them, sitting on a bench with the woman who had played a part in destroying my marriage. Lisa looked nervous, twisting her hands in her lap as she began to speak. What Lisa told me left me reeling. It turns out that Tom had been lying to both of us. He told Lisa that he and I were separated and in the process of divorcing when they started their affair. She had no idea that he was still very much married and living with me and our children. She showed me text messages and emails from Tom that corroborated her story. In one message, he talked about how he was just staying with me for the sake of the kids until the divorce was finalized. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. Not only had Tom cheated on me, but he had systematically lied to and manipulated both Lisa and me for over a year. I was disgusted by his behavior and felt more certain than ever that I had made the right decision in ending our marriage. Lisa was just as shocked and hurt as I was when she found out the truth. She apologized profusely for her part in the affair, even though she didn't know she was the other woman at the time. She told me that she had ended things with Tom as soon as she discovered the truth, about a week before I found the emails. After our meeting, I went home and cried for hours. I felt like I was grieving all over again, not just for the end of my marriage, but for the man I thought I knew. The Tom I married would never have done something like this. Or had I just been blind to who he really was all along? I confronted Tom about Lisa's revelations the next day. We met at a coffee shop, the same one where we had our post-separation talk. When I told him what I knew, he broke down, admitting to everything. He begged for another chance, saying he would do anything to make things right. He said he had been confused and scared of losing everything, so he had lied to both of us. But I stood my ground. I told him that this new information only confirmed that I could never trust him again. As for Lisa, we've actually formed an unlikely friendship. We've met up a few times since our initial conversation, and it's been therapeutic for both of us to talk about our experiences with Tom. She's going through her own healing process, and we're supporting each other through this difficult time. It's strange to think that something positive could come out of this mess, but I'm grateful for her honesty and support. On a more positive note, I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything that's happened. It's been incredibly helpful, and I'm slowly starting to feel like myself again. I've also joined a support group for divorced parents, which has been a great source of advice and comfort. It's reassuring to know that I'm not alone in this journey. The kids are adjusting as well as can be expected. They miss having both parents under one roof, but they're resilient. Charlie's behavior has improved since he started seeing the school counselor, and Lily is slowly getting used to the new routine. I'm doing my best to maintain a stable environment for them and ensure they feel loved and supported. As for me, I'm taking things one day at a time. Some days are harder than others, but I'm starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm focusing on my children, my job, and rediscovering who I am outside of my marriage. It's scary, but also exciting in a way I didn't expect. Last week, I went out with some friends for the first time since the separation. It felt strange at first, like I was playing a role, but by the end of the night, I found myself laughing and enjoying the company. It was a small step, but an important one. I'm also thinking about making some changes in my career. I've always wanted to start my own business, and now feels like the right time to explore that option. I'm not sure what that will look like yet, but I'm excited about the possibilities. Thank you again for all your support. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 2. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some recent developments. The divorce was finalized last month. It was a bittersweet moment, the end of a chapter in my life, but also the beginning of a new one. Tom and I managed to keep things relatively amicable throughout the process, which I'm grateful for. We both want what's best for the kids, and that's helped us put aside our personal feelings to some extent. However, things haven't been entirely smooth. About 2 months ago, Tom lost his job. He had been struggling at work ever since our separation, and his performance had suffered. His company went through a round of layoffs, and he was one of the unfortunate ones to be let go. He asked if he could reduce his child support payments temporarily until he found new employment. After some consideration and discussions with my lawyer, I agreed, on the condition that he would make up the difference once he was back on his feet. This situation has put some financial strain on me, but I'm managing. I've taken on some freelance work in addition to my regular job to make ends meet. It's been challenging juggling everything, but I'm proud of how I'm handling it. The kids have been great about it too. Charlie even offered to give up his allowance to help out, which was sweet but of course not necessary. On a more positive note, I've started dating again. I was nervous about it at first, but my therapist encouraged me to put myself out there when I felt ready. I met a wonderful man named Alex, 37M, through a mutual friend at a neighborhood barbecue. We've been seeing each other for about 2 months now. It's still early days, but he's kind, funny, and great with my kids. Alex is divorced too, with a 9-year-old daughter from his previous marriage. He understands what I'm going through and has been incredibly patient and understanding. We're taking things slow, which I appreciate. The kids have met him a few times, and they seem to like him, especially Charlie, who is thrilled to discover that Alex coaches Little League. Speaking of the kids, they seem to be adjusting well to our new normal. They still have moments of sadness about the divorce, but overall, they're doing okay. Charlie has been seeing the school counselor, which has been helpful for him to process his feelings. His behavior at school has improved significantly, and he's back to his usual energetic self. Lily has taken up ballet classes, which she absolutely loves. It's been great to see her confidence grow. Tom has been consistent with his visitation schedule, which I appreciate. He's been making an effort to be more involved in the kids' lives, attending Charlie's baseball games and Lily's dance recitals. Last week, however, he asked if we could revise the custody arrangement. He wants to have the kids for a full week every other week, instead of just weekends. He says he misses them and wants more time with them. I'm conflicted about this request. On one hand, I know it would be good for the kids to spend more time with their father. On the other hand, I worry about the disruption to their routine, especially during the school week. I've told Tom I need some time to think about it and discuss it with the kids. As for me, I'm continuing with therapy and finding it incredibly helpful. I've also started taking a yoga class, which has been great for managing stress. Slowly but surely, I'm rebuilding my life and rediscovering who I am as an individual, not just as a wife and mother. I've also been making progress with my business idea. I've been doing some market research and working on a business plan. It's exciting to think about the possibilities, even if it's also a bit scary. I'm grateful for the support of my family and friends, who have been encouraging me every step of the way. There are still tough days, of course. Days when I'm overwhelmed by single parenthood, or when a memory of my life with Tom catches me off guard and leaves me feeling sad. But these moments are becoming less frequent, and I'm getting better at handling them when they do come. I'm cautiously optimistic about the future. It may not be the future I had once imagined for myself, but I'm learning that doesn't mean it can't be a good one. I'm proud of how far I've come and excited about what lies ahead. Thank you all for your continued support. I'll update again if there are any significant changes. Update 3. It's been almost a year since my original post, and I wanted to give you all a final update on my situation. The biggest news is that Tom has moved out of state for a new job opportunity. He struggled to find work locally after losing his previous job, and this was too good an offer to pass up. It's in a city about 4 hours away by car. When he first told me about it, I had mixed feelings. On one hand, I was glad he found a job that could help him get back on his feet financially. On the other hand, I worried about how this would affect the kids. This move has, of course, impacted our custody arrangement. We've had to completely revise it. Now, Tom has the kids for longer periods during school breaks and holidays, but sees them less frequently during the school year. It's been an adjustment for everyone, especially the children. Charlie was upset at first, worried that he wouldn't see his dad as much. Lily had a harder time understanding why Daddy was moving so far away. I did agree to Tom's request for more time with the kids before he moved. We tried the week-on, week-off schedule for a couple of months. It was challenging, especially with school and extracurricular activities, but it allowed Tom to spend more quality time with the kids before his big move. Now that he's further away, we've had to be creative with video calls and online gaming sessions to keep him connected with the children between visits. On a personal note, my relationship with Alex has grown stronger. He's been an incredible support through all of this, and the kids adore him. We're talking about moving in together in the near future, but we're taking things slow for the sake of the children. Alex's daughter, Mia, has become good friends with Charlie and Lily, which has been wonderful to see. I've also made some positive changes in my career. The freelance work I took on to make ends meet has turned into a promising business opportunity. I'm in the process of starting my own small marketing consulting firm. It's scary and exciting all at once, but I'm proud of myself for taking this leap. I've already secured a few clients and things are looking promising. The kids are doing well, all things considered. They miss seeing their dad as often, but they're adjusting. We've started a new tradition of Sunday night family video calls with Tom, which helps them feel connected. Charlie has made great progress with the school counselor and is back to his usual cheerful self. He's even been named captain of his little league team, which has been a huge confidence boost. Lily has taken up ballet and absolutely loves it. She had her first recital last month, and seeing her up on that stage, beaming with pride, was one of the happiest moments I've had in a long time. As for me, I feel like I finally turned a corner. The pain of Tom's betrayal is still there, but it no longer defines me. I've rediscovered my strength and independence, and I'm excited about what the future holds. I've even started volunteering at a local women's shelter, helping other women who are going through difficult times. It's been incredibly rewarding and has helped put my own struggles into perspective. Looking back on this journey, I'm amazed at how far I've come. A year ago, I was heartbroken and scared about the future. Now, I'm standing on my own 2 feet, building a new life for myself and my children. It hasn't been easy, and there have been plenty of tears and sleepless nights along the way, but I'm proud of how I've handled everything. To anyone going through a similar situation, I want to say, it gets better. It's not easy, and there will be tough days, but you're stronger than you know. Take it one day at a time, lean on your support system, and don't be afraid to put yourself first sometimes. You deserve happiness and respect. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your kind words and advice have been a source of strength for me. While this will be my last update, I'll always be grateful for the community I found here during one of the toughest periods of my life.